Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just like I've been saying, it's time to do these floors. I've got some material out. I've already marked these. I'm gonna build some ramps. We've already got the delivery, as you saw, of one Connex. I've got the tripod set up. That way when the next one comes in, we can catch it getting delivered. I'm gonna make some ramps, like I said, that way we can get some of these larger items in there. The hoist can go in there. And the actual largest items are gonna be all this metal. And then that big guy. So we're gonna pack some stuff up. Anything on the walls can stay. Anything touching the floor has to go. I'm not gonna video or time lapse every single step, but I'll keep you guys updated along the way. That way we can get these floors done and get some more of these awesome projects in. Rained a little bit ago and called the Connex company. There's a leak. I knew immediately when I saw that there was going to be a problem, especially being a welder. Come on now. It's bowed down in, booger welded. Yeah, it's just not good. So I can't have that leaking, so they're going to swap it out in the morning. So I need to go ahead and pull that table out. And I'll start putting everything into this one. This one is dry. I don't believe those are wet spots. Those are just dark. It's not wet at all like the other building or the other Connex. And there's no booger welds or anything like that. It's actually, if you could see, this Connex is bowed up so the water won't sit on it. So we'll go ahead and swap out, start using this one. Little update. They came out to repair it. They didn't want to swap it out. So they came out to repair it. 10 minutes after repairing it, it started raining. Well, after 30 minutes, it leaked again. I'll throw that picture right up here. So now they came out for a second time and supposedly repaired it, and they just used some Flex Seal patches, this and that. And you saw the Connex, the metal storage unit earlier. That's just gonna be a Band-Aid. But if I have to, I'll throw some tarps on it, and in the layout, you can see that's where I have the box for the hoist, and not really much here. So I'll stick the welder maybe over here. We'll do some swapping to get the more important electronical stuff, like the welder. We'll get that put over here to where it won't. Maybe I'll put the welder inside the office. That's an option. So while they were doing that today, I went ahead and totally forgot to set up the camera, but I started tearing down the plasma table. I took the screen and the post, took it off, the brain, took it off, and the actual plasma unit, took them all out, and they're inside in the office in the house. And then I wrapped up the power cord and the air line, and it's zip tied lightly up out of the way. Anything on the walls, remember, can stay. I'm only messing with the floor. So we'll go ahead and let you guys see me tear the table down. I gotta pull out all these metal slats. I've already got the hose hooked up. That hose is hooked up to all 4 of my bar sink drains. So we have 4 drains under there. And then I can just turn that valve and it goes out, and it goes, all the way out to the drainage of the pond. So I'll be cleaning this out. There's tons of metal in here, material. I got me a handy dandy big old fat scooper. So we're gonna see what we can do to get it out and probably into some buckets. That way it can go with my scrap run. And then we'll get this table lifted up and on some dollies I have for it. So we'll set the camera up, like I said, and get started. We'll get this shop empty one tool and one step at a time. I'd like to have this shop empty within a few days and getting these floors cleaned up. They're absolutely filthy. And when I say filthy, that's just dirty. There's no really spills. You can see one over there, a little oil spill. I'll wipe up some whatever degreaser I'm allowed to use with this product. There's a certain type they recommend. So I'll do that, get some spots up, and we'll get this treated. I'm ready to get this treated so we can get back at it. I'm telling you, I'm really excited about the projects coming in here. Now that all the metal slats are out, I should have probably went ahead and cut some new ones prior, but that's all right. We'll figure that out. I'm gonna scoop and drain this some more, but I'm gonna scoop all that out. You can see there's a lot in there. That's at least 1 inch thick. And you can see the dark area. It's this whole center. That's usually where I primarily cut. But once we get all the sludge out of there, I'll wipe down the pans a good amount, and then we'll get it ready to move into the Connex. I tested the metal metal storage this morning with some hose water, and it seems sealed up. So we can go ahead and start putting everything back in as well, and we'll get the shop empty. We're getting there, one scoop at a time. You really don't realize how much, or I didn't realize how much sediment, material was really down in there. That 5-gallon bucket's got 3.5 maybe. gallons. It's 3/4 of the way full. So I'm gonna go set this bucket out, and then I'll get another bucket. I'll drill some holes in the bottom like I did this one, because right now I've got it up in the air on some boards in there. I've got some holes drilled in the low spots, and then I put a wire mesh in. So I'll go ahead and swap that out, get another one, then we'll continue to get all this out of there. Then I'll drain it some more, and we'll get the rest of this out of here, rinse it off, wipe it out with some degreaser, get it where I like it to store it, and then we'll move on. One scoop at a time. That's all we're gonna put in the buckets. The rest of this we're gonna get with the vacuum, and then we'll rinse it down some more, and we'll get it decently clean. And then we'll put it on the skates. I've got individual skates that go under each feet. It'll make it easier to load into the metal container. This is the second bucket. This one's pretty much filled to the rim. That's a lot of metal. There's still, you can see there's still more we're gonna get with the vacuum. See, no one really talks about the dirty side of a plasma table. It's nasty. I already washed my hands, but you can see it's got an oily coat on everything, whether it be the oils from the metal, any of the coating, the mill scale, that stuff's nasty. But you can see it just comes right up off the pan. So I'll go ahead and take that bucket, get it out of here, and we'll get the vacuum on this and try to get it pretty clean. That way when I store it for a few weeks, it won't get too nasty. And I'm not sure, but I might put another pan on there instead of the 4-piece one that's there. We'll see. I mean, it works, so I may leave it. Let's go ahead and get this thing ready to get in that container. by little, we're getting there. You saw we put in the shelf. We started getting the Connex filled up. They sealed it up. They patched it up. Whatever, it'll work. No big deal to me. I went and scored a pallet jack because moving each one of these sheets in pieces is not the easiest. That's all 1/4 inch. That 1/2 sheet is 3/16, but the rest of these two pallets, that's 1/4 inch. Those aren't light. And then I couldn't move all that material on just that huge pallet. So I'm gonna toss that guy in the trash. Now that I have the pallet jack, I can move these pallets around as needed until we get rid of this material. And you can see I have another pallet over there. I can move the compressor with the pallet jack now. Normally I'll use the dolly. We'll see which one's easier. The dollies for the table are right there. So what we have loaded up in the first one y'all saw is the metal table. I moved the metal table over to this side and all that space was filled. We've got one metal shelf up against there. That was that one, and then we refilled it. And then we added some more stuff that was just sitting around the shop. So next, we need to go ahead and take this metal pallet. One of these pallets of metal, probably the biggest one here. And we need either this one or that one. They're the heaviest. And I need to see if I can get it up that ramp and into the Connex. If not, then I need to borrow or go buy a hand winch where I can strap it to the Connex, strap it to that pallet, and winch it up that ramp. And we'll find out if that ramp will hold up. If it's not going to, then I'm gonna have to either double it up or use one of these pieces of metal as my ramp. But regardless, I'm gonna get this shop empty. It's just me and myself. I can do it all by myself, and I'm going to. If there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to get something done. So just stick to it and find that way. So we'll start that in the morning. As you can see, it's a little dark because of the window tint, but it's dark. It's about 8:30 at night. I'm gonna go in, gonna have some steak. You know everyone likes some steak. And then we're gonna get back on it in the morning, and we're gonna see what we can get loaded. See if we can get all this loaded up tomorrow. All right, I get to come at this a different way. Didn't think it'd be so difficult, but this is my heaviest pallet and the lowest. As you can see in here, I'm bottoming out. So I'm gonna build and rearrange this to where there's solid supports and no flex underneath that ramp. Because right now I think it's bowing down with the weight. You guys can't see that anymore. There you go. I think it's bowing down with the weight and causing the front to go lower. So I need to take that piece of plywood, set it on top of the trailer, and like I said, make two solid loading points that won't bow down with the weight. I mean, I'm sure this is 1,000 pounds, but I'll get it. I'll go ahead and pull this back. Like I said, see those 2x6s in there? I'll get those guys, I'll get those and we'll just make some support that's not gonna let this flex. I've got tons more wood. If I have to make a solid base to move between the two of these, I will. It's in. Man, that's some heavy material in there. Well, since we already have the ramp set up to be able to do the heavy stuff, we're gonna go ahead and get one of these shelves, probably this one. I'll get that shelving system up on the boards, the rollers, and I'll roll them up in there. They're gonna go next to that other shelving. And then I can rearrange these boards back to the way they were. We'll get, like I said, that one and then another pallet in there. And I believe that's all that's going in this one. All right, like I said, if there's a will, there's a way. Let's keep going. That's about it for the first container. All the rest of this goes in the other container, except for the press. The drill press is gonna go in the second container. I may put the bandsaw. I didn't put that on my list. Where did I put my list? Over here. So far, everything's about where it belongs on the list. I don't know if the hoist is gonna fit, but all this is in. The welder's in the shop. I mean, in the office in the house. Compressor's in there, parts cleaner's in there. This table needs to go somewhere. That's trash. All this wood will go back in the front garage, but like the jack, these dollies, once I'm done, I'll stack somewhere. Those dollies, that jack. But I need to figure out this pile. The bender's going in the other metal storage with that, and that. So this kind of just needs to be set where we can. And as you can see, I still have some room in here. So I may just go ahead and put some of that scrap on top of my metal in here. But I've got it packed up pretty good. It'll be fun putting it all back where it belongs. But I kind of have an order of how I took it out, and I'll put it back in that order. We're getting there. That's just about everything. That pallet's gonna go down to the curb. That's a trash can I'm gonna use. There's room for it in the storage that has the plasma table in it. Brooms I'm gonna clean up. This pallet is gonna get stashed and set aside. All we have left is the trailer, mini micro trailer of scrap. The wood table might go in the front garage. I need to go get some wheels for that press so I can just roll it in there, and we're empty. All I gotta do is set the ramp stuff at the end of the doors on the inside so we can shut them down. The plastic stand, the Matco tools that hold my tripod 98% of the time, that's got room to go in as well. So I have it set up to where I can access my toolboxes. All I have to do is roll out the fan, which will be getting used. And then this is the tool cart I'm gonna use. And I set it up like this. So once these two items are out, and the trash can, and then that tripod cart, those all items can be pulled right out easily, and then I can access any tool I need. And I'm gonna stuff everything else I can in here. I shouldn't access anything, but if I do, the press is gonna go here, and I'm gonna shove the hoist however I can in there. The scrap, I don't know if it's gonna make it in there. It's just scrap, so I may just let it sit right out here on the concrete for however long it takes to do this. It's just scrap, so what's it gonna hurt? And if it thinks about collecting any water, I'll drill some small holes in that. And then that'll go in the front garage. This is just some extra material I have. I can just carry that in the front garage. That is scrap, that'll go in there. That's scrap, that'll go in there, and that'll account for everything. So let's get that knocked out. right, it's empty. It echoes so much and it feels so much bigger. Now there's nothing in here. As you can see, the floor is dirty as heck. So next we need to go ahead, open up all the doors and broom this thing out and vacuum it up. We'll get the floors as clean as possible. If there's any spots, we'll try to get them up. And we'll go ahead and start doing treatment. It's just crazy how empty it is. A lot of work. Have the whole shop in two 20-foot metal shipping containers. And it's really, really wild to think about that. I mean, there's stuff. There could be a little bit more Tetris, I guess you'd say, a little bit more organization than I have it. And I might be able to get some other stuff in there. But like I said before, both these items can roll right out of my way if I need to get into toolboxes. And we have the room right there, I believe, for the trash can and then for the tripod holder. The expensive Mako tool holder that, yeah, it's just a tripod holder. It is what it is. So everything's in there. We'll get these doors locked up. And then as you see, sun's going down. So I'm more than likely going ahead. Gonna go ahead and go eat some dinner and then we'll get to cleaning first thing in the morning. So let's get these doors shut and locked and then we'll get back to it in the morning. there's 7 out of the 8 squares done. I started to do some of this last one, but I'll redo it again. I've been changing the bucket every square. So it's been nice and dirty. I blew it out after I swept it. I'm not gonna film this last square as I'm gonna mop myself out the door. It's dark and raining, so you can't really see me through the window. Next, I have to let this dry for 24 hours, then I can apply the first coat of the 2 stages. There's 1 stage and then 2 stages. But I'll get into that in the next video. That's gonna be it for this one. We're gonna seal up the first stage and the second stage in the second video, and then we will put everything back in here. So like I said, that's it for this one, and thanks for watching.